Today, let's talk about a story that's, well, it's basically the stuff of legend. It's a tale packed with courage, love, betrayal, and ultimately, incredible sacrifice. We are diving into the life of the one and only Prithviraj Chauhan. You see, Prithviraj's name is one of those that really rings out through Indian history. He's become so much more than just a king. He's pretty much the definition of a national hero.
He was brave. He was absolutely fearless.
But what really cements his place in history is this. Prithviraj Chauhan was the last great Hindu king of Delhi. He was a ruler standing at this incredible turning point in history, and his story, well, it truly marks the end of an era.
So how does someone become a legend like that?
Well, for Prithviraj, it all started young. He wasn't just born a prince, he was forged into this incredible warrior right from his earliest days. And when you look at the skills he had, wow, it's really something else. We're not just talking about basic sword fighting here. He mastered horse riding, archery, and complex military strategy. But you see that third one? Shabda Bedi Ban, the ability to hit a target using only the sound it makes. Now you're going to want to remember that one. Trust me, it becomes absolutely critical later on. By the age of 13, he was already leading armies. And get this, by the time he was just 20 years old, can you imagine? 20. He was already on the throne of not one, but two powerful kingdoms, Delhi and Ajmer. That is a huge weight to carry at such a young age.
Okay, so he's this incredible warrior king. But his story isn't all battles and politics. Nope. A huge part of his life was defined by what is honestly one of India's greatest love stories and the really dangerous rivalry it sparked.
So at the heart of it all, you've got this intense drama. Prithviraj is deeply in love with Princess Samyukta. The problem? Her father, King Jai Chand, absolutely could not stand him. So to add a massive public insult, Jai Chand throws this huge ceremony for his daughter to pick a husband and invites every important king except Prithviraj. And just to rub it in, he puts a statue of Prithviraj at the gate, basically making fun of him as a doorman. But what happens next is straight out of a movie. Samyukta, in this incredible act of defiance, just walks past every single prince and king in the room. She goes straight to that statue and places her wedding garland right on it. And then, bam! At that exact moment, Prithviraj, who is hiding nearby the whole time, swoops in and they ride off together. Now, as you can imagine, this whole elopement thing creates a sworn enemy in Jai Chand, and that rivalry. It's going to have deadly consequences, especially when a brand new threat shows up from the west. The invader, Muhammad Ghori, who would lead to two monumental battles that defined everything. This all comes to a head in two pivotal battles, happening just a year apart. First, in 1191, Prithviraj scores this massive victory against Ghori. But just a year later, in 1192, well, the tables turn in the most dramatic way imaginable. Okay, so in that first battle, Prithviraj's Rajput cavalry was just an unstoppable force. They completely crushed Ghori's army, and Ghori himself was captured. But here's the turning point. Prithviraj shows mercy. He lets him go. A noble act, right? But it backfires big time. A year later, Ghori comes back, not with honor, but with a bigger army and a whole lot of deception. This time, Prithviraj is overwhelmed, he's defeated, and he's taken prisoner. And this, right here, is where the story truly shifts from history into legend. Captured, taken to Ghazni, Prithviraj faces his darkest hour. But even in defeat, his story was far, far from over. Think about this for a second. Ghori mocks and tortures his prisoner, eventually blinding him with hot irons. For anyone else, that's it, game over. So really, what hope is there? What could a blind, captive king possibly do? Remember that skill we talked about? The one from his childhood? Shabda Bedi Ban? His eyes were gone, but his ears, his warrior's intuition, they were sharper than ever. He had one last trick up his sleeve. So the story goes that Ghori decides to humiliate Prithviraj one last time with this mock archery display. But Prithviraj's loyal court poet, Chand Bardai, is right there with him. And as Prithviraj gets ready, Bardai recites a poem. And hidden inside it is a secret message, a coded set of directions giving Ghori's exact location. So Prithviraj doesn't aim at the target. He aims at the sound of Ghori's voice. He pulls back the bowstring one last time and lets the arrow fly. It hits its mark, Muhammad Ghori is killed instantly, right there on his throne. Unbelievable. Even blinded and in chains, Prithviraj Chauhan gets his final revenge.
So, what does all this mean? This final act of defiance is exactly why his story becomes so much more than just a historical record of wins and losses. And this quote really sums it all up. Yeah, he lost his kingdom, he even lost his life, but his honor, his fighting spirit, that was never broken. He may have fallen as a prisoner, but he rose as an immortal legend. And that's why, today, we remember him not just as some ruler from a textbook, but as this powerful symbol of what it means to be a true king, a brilliant warrior, a legendary lover, and maybe most importantly, a symbol of pure, unbreakable courage against all odds. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? Here's a king who, in the end, lost his kingdom. But his legend never died. It makes you ask, why do these stories of heroes who defy their fate, even in defeat, stick with us for centuries? What is it about them that we just can't forget?